Red Bull stands at a crucial point in its journey. On one side of the garage, they've got a rare gem, a generational talent capable of pushing their car beyond its limits in nearly every race. On the other side, they have a dependable teammate, someone reliable but only able to perform well when the car is at its absolute best. This second driver, Sergio Perez, offers a unique kind of stability. He doesn't threaten Max Verstappen's dominance, ensuring internal harmony within the team. However, harmony alone doesn't win championships, and Red Bull now faces a tough decision. Can they clinch titles with this pairing? The answer is looking less likely. The real question is, does Perez stay, or is it time for him to move on? Speculation about Perez's future has intensified recently, and this time it seems more than just rumor. Red Bull's advisor Helmut Marko has revealed that the team will determine who partners Max Verstappen for the 2025 season at the end of this year. While whispers of Perez retiring at the upcoming Mexican Grand Prix race swirl, Marko has stressed that a new contract doesn't necessarily secure Perez's seat for next year. He emphasized that Formula One operates on merit, where contracts hold little weight if performance falters. Perez has come under increased scrutiny after struggling to find his footing in recent races. In fact, the last time he stood on the podium was back in April at the Chinese Grand Prix. His June contract extension, which was meant to tie him to Red Bull until the 2026 season, initially seemed to guarantee his future. However, sources suggest that new performance clauses in the deal give Red Bull some wiggle room. Perez found himself under significant pressure right before F1's summer break, with rumors circulating that his position was in jeopardy if he didn't close the gap to Verstappen. After the Belgian Grand Prix, Red Bull even considered terminating his contract mid-season due to a performance clause, as he trailed Verstappen by more than 100 points. At one point, Red Bull seemed prepared to replace Perez and arranged a shootout test between two drivers from their junior lineup, Daniel Ricciardo and Liam Lawson. The test, conducted at Imola, was intended to evaluate their potential as Perez's replacement for the second half of the 2024 season. However, Red Bull ultimately chose to stick with Perez for the remaining 10 races of the season. Whether they'll adopt a similar approach when deciding Perez's fate at the end of this year remains unclear. The performance gap between Perez and Verstappen, now over 200 points, certainly isn't helping Perez's case. Despite persistent rumors about his retirement announcement at the Mexican Grand Prix, Perez has publicly denied any such plans, insisting he will not walk away from Red Bull just yet. But with no improvement in results, the pressure continues to mount, especially as Liam Lawson, the rising star, strengthens his claim for Perez's seat next season. Liam Lawson has been making waves ever since he stepped in as a substitute during the United States Grand Prix. His impressive performance has put him at the forefront of Red Bull's considerations for the 2025 season. Lawson filled in for Daniel Ricciardo, who had been sidelined, and took full advantage of the opportunity to prove himself over the remaining races. The young driver's consistent display has only added to the mounting pressure on Sergio Perez, who must now deliver flawless performances to hold onto his spot alongside Verstappen. Red Bull's longtime advisor, Helmut Marko, recently hinted that the team's management will take a hard look at Perez's results once the season wraps up. Marko stressed that the Mexican driver's newly signed contract would not be a safety net. In Formula One, Marko said, "Performance is everything. Contracts can be overlooked if the results aren't there. At the end of the season, we'll sit down and determine who is the best partner for Max." His comments have further fueled speculation that Perez's tenure at Red Bull could be nearing its end, especially if he fails to turn things around in these last few races. Even though Perez has dismissed the rumors about his imminent retirement as pure speculation, the pressure has only intensified. During the U.S. Grand Prix in Austin, Texas, Perez's 7th place finish, a full 40 seconds behind Verstappen, did little to quell the uncertainty surrounding his future. Meanwhile, Lawson's stellar performance, even after serving a massive grid penalty, grabbed everyone's attention. The 22-year-old recovered from the back of the field to secure 9th place, scoring crucial points and sending a clear message to the Red Bull team he is ready for a permanent spot. With 5 races left on the calendar, Perez faces an uphill battle to prove his worth. His performances in these final events will likely decide his fate at Red Bull. Behind the scenes, discussions have already begun about who might fill his seat if he fails to meet expectations. Red Bull has kept an eye on Yuki Tsunoda, another promising talent, and Lawson remains a top contender. Both drivers have spent time with Red Bull's junior team, and both represent the future of the organization. Tsunoda, with his experience and consistency, offers a safe bet. but Lawson's rapid rise has generated real excitement within the team. Adding to the intrigue, Red Bull's team principal Christian Horner recently hinted that the decision to replace Ricciardo mid-season wasn't merely a short-term solution. He suggested that the team is searching for long-term answers, hinting that they are thinking beyond just the current season. It is becoming increasingly clear that Red Bull's leadership is willing to make bold moves if needed to maintain their dominance in Formula One. Perez now finds himself racing not only against competitors but against time. As the Mexican Grand Prix approaches, a race he hoped would be a celebration of his homecoming, it has instead become a critical moment in his career. With rumors swirling about an impending farewell, the spotlight is firmly on Perez to prove he belongs. However, the recent U.S. Grand Prix served as a sobering reminder that he is struggling to keep up. While Verstappen inched closer to securing his fourth world title with a third-place finish, Perez ended the race in seventh, trailing 40 seconds behind his teammate in identical machinery. This gap has only intensified questions about his future, especially with Red Bull constantly evaluating the alternatives. The team is closely monitoring how Perez stacks up against Tsunoda and Lawson, two young talents from their development program. Tsunoda, at 24 years old, has demonstrated consistency throughout his time with the team, while Lawson has shown immense potential by delivering standout performances under pressure. After the race in Austin, Lawson's stock within Red Bull has surged. Despite being placed at the back of the grid due to technical penalties, Lawson fought his way to a ninth-place finish, earning points and winning admiration from the Red Bull camp. Meanwhile, Tsunoda, who started the race from a more favorable 10th position, ended up in 14th place, raising doubts about his ability to perform when it matters most. Behind the scenes, Red Bull executives were thrilled with Lawson's performance. The 22-year-old's recovery from last place impressed everyone, leading to quiet but meaningful discussions about what the future could hold for him within the organization. Christian Horner couldn't hide his enthusiasm when speaking about Lawson, remarking that the young driver had raced like a seasoned professional. Liam delivered exactly the kind of performance we need, Horner said with a smile. He's clearly someone to watch for the future. The ongoing three-way competition between Perez, Tsunoda, and Lawson has taken center stage as Red Bull considers its options for the 2025 season. Martin Brundle, a former F1 driver turned commentator, praised Lawson's skill, citing his daring overtake on Fernando Alonso during the final lap of the Austin race. Lawson executed the move perfectly, Brundle said. He used the slipstream to his advantage, got the nose of his car right into the apex, and powered through. That's exactly the kind of performance that could secure him a seat next to Verstappen. Another respected voice in the paddock, former driver Ralf Schumacher, also weighed in on the matter. He bluntly stated that Perez's time at Red Bull is likely coming to an end. I don't mean it personally, but Perez's chapter with Red Bull seems to be closing, Schumacher said. If Lawson keeps driving like this, it's hard to see how they could justify keeping Perez. Despite all the speculation, Lawson has remained humble, insisting that the focus is on delivering consistent results. It's all about performance, Lawson said modestly. Yuki has been doing a great job for the past few years, and he's the standard I'm measured against. My goal is to keep up and improve with every opportunity I get. As we approach the final stretch of the season, the focus sharpens on Perez and the uncertain future he faces at Red Bull. With just a handful of races left, the Mexican driver is running out of time to prove that he still belongs at the top. His upcoming performance at the Mexican Grand Prix could be pivotal, not just as a celebration of his home race, but as a last chance to secure his seat for 2025. Meanwhile, Red Bull's decision-making is in full swing, and their management is keeping every option open, weighing talent and potential with precision. Liam Lawson continues to be at the forefront of the discussion. His impressive run at the U.S. Grand Prix has sparked a new level of excitement within the team. Many believe that if Lawson continues to deliver, Red Bull won't hesitate to promote him. His ability to rise to the challenge has already made him a serious contender, and now it's up to Perez to show whether he still has what it takes to keep his position. Adding more intrigue, rumors persist that Franco Colapinto could be drawn into Red Bull's plans for the future. The Argentine driver, currently without a clear path at Williams, is emerging as a wildcard candidate. Red Bull has a reputation for bold moves, and bringing in a rising talent like Colapinto could align perfectly with their long-term vision. However, as the clock ticks down, the competition between Lawson, Tsunoda, and Colapinto intensifies. Every race counts, and Red Bull knows that they can't afford to make a mistake with their lineup for next season. Christian Horner and Helmut Marko have both hinted that Red Bull's decisions will come sooner rather than later, with Helmut emphasizing once again that contracts are only as good as the performances that back them. For Perez, this means the pressure is now higher than ever. His struggles this season have already raised eyebrows, and with each passing race, the gap between him and Verstappen grows wider. If Perez cannot close that gap, Red Bull is unlikely to gamble on him for another year. The Mexican Grand Prix offers Perez one last shot to remind Red Bull and the world why he earned that seat in the first place. But if he falters, the team may finally decide to part ways with the national hero. And while Perez has repeatedly insisted that he has no intention of retiring, many in the paddock believe that an announcement could come sooner rather than later, especially if his results fail to improve. In the end, the future of Red Bull's driver lineup remains a compelling mystery, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Perez has 5 races left to turn things around, but with Lawson and Tsunoda breathing down his neck and Kolapinto waiting in the wings, the competition is fierce. The choices Red Bull makes will shape not just next season, but the long-term future of the team. So, what do you think? Is Perez's time with Red Bull coming to an end? Will Lawson secure his spot, or could we see a surprise like Kolapinto entering the fray? Share your thoughts in the comments below and stay tuned, because the next few weeks could change everything in the world of Formula One.